Okay, so we'd like to do number 62 out of 11.6, which is one of the subtler things in your book. So what we have is we have log of x, quantity squared is log of x squared. Natural inclinations to run in terror, possibly.
Log base 10.
Okay, so this is 1 log base 10, right? Okay, what does this thing mean?
In terms of the exponential thing?
Yeah, I kind of can't do exponential things because I've got this square on the outside, right? You guys see that I would kind of like to say that, but I kind of can't. Okay, so what this means is a log x times a log x, right? And then what this guy means is log of x times x. Those are not the same thing, right? See that? So I'm wondering, when are these two things the same? So I might do something like log rule-y. So which side can I use a log rule on?
The right side.
Yeah, the right-hand side and only the right-hand side. You guys see that? Why can't I use a log rule on the left?
Because it has parentheses.
Yeah, because the square is outside of the argument of the logarithm, right? So I use my log rule, and what do I get on the right-hand side? 2 log of x. Okay, so what that means is 2 times log of x, right? And on the left-hand side, I've still got log of x squared. You guys ready for the really tricky stuff here? All right, this is a thing about when a square is twice something, right? So let me maybe just think. I'm just going to take this whole guy, and I'm going to think about this as like some variable y. See with that? So what I've got here is I've got like, okay, y squared is 2y. Do I know how to solve that? Yeah, man, that's like a...
Divided by y.
It's not quite a square root.
No,
Get a y on the other side, that'll kind of dork me.
Divided by 2.
But I could subtract 2y and then factor and use the zero product rule. It's like a chapter 6 thing, which is probably why it's so hard to do. So if I subtract 2y from both sides, I've got y squared minus 2y is 0. Does that look a little bit more familiar? That looks like chapter 9 kind of, or chapter
It's okay.
7?
It's somewhere there.
7 or 6. It's like a quadratic, right? Equal to 0. So I could apply the quadratic formula, I could complete this square, I could factor in zero product rule. Factor in zero product rule is the easy one with this, right? Why?
Because you don't have that big old formula, the ax squared plus bx plus c or something.
Yeah, I don't have a c, right?
Right.
You guys see that? So because I don't have a c, this is an easy factor. So I can factor out a what?
Y.
Okay, what am I left with? A y minus 2. 0, right? So then what do I do with this? What's the tool for these? So I've got it factored. So I've got two things multiplied together is 0. What do I know about the things?
Just y minus 2 equals 0.
What did I do here? What's that? That's the zero product rule. Thank you. This was factor, right? This was a log rule, by the way.
Where did you get the y from?
Yeah, where did I get the y from? Right? They didn't ask me about y's. Okay, so I found y is 0 or y is 2, right? But there weren't any y's in the original problem. What? If you do, you'll lose this one, right? You could, but you'd have to account for what happens when y is 0. It turns out here that the y is 0 won't be important anyway. But that's just magic here. We'll see it in a second. All right, so they didn't ask me about y's to begin with, right? So where'd the y come from? Yeah, I was thinking about log of x as y, right? So really, these aren't about y's. These are about log of x, right? So really, y is 0 means I'm thinking log of x is 0, right? Or what? Log of x is 2. You guys see that? Can log of x be 0?
Yeah, that's
Wait.
right. X to the 1 power 0.
Oh, I lied. 0 is important here.
Yeah,
Okay, so log of x can be 0 when x is,
no. I know that it has to be the power 1, whatever number it is, but I don't understand what question.
okay, so if I were to rephrase these in exponential, right? These mean 10 to the 0 is x, right? Or, what's this one mean? Rephrase this in exponential? 10 to the second is x. So these aren't equal. That's fine. There might be 2 answers, right? Just like when we did quadratics, there were 2 answers. That's kind of what's happening here. This thing's quadratic in log of x.
So it can be 0 then?
So there are 2 answers, yeah, and this one seems to be allowed, right? If I had gotten log of x had to be -1 or something.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's still allowed.
It's a different one.
You guys see that?
It can be.
I'd be okay here. The logs have a range of all real numbers. It's the negatives in here that I would have problems with, right? Okay, so rephrasing, maybe simplifying these, what did I get? I got x is 1, or x is, what's 10 to the 2? 100. So I could check these to make sure I was right, yeah? So if I plug 1 in, I get log of 1, that's 0, right? We just did that. That's this guy. So I get 0 squared is log of 1 squared. 1 squared 1, right? So I get 0 up. You guys see that? Maybe if I were to write down my check, I would write, okay, is log of 1 squared, I'm wondering, is that log of 1 squared?
Yeah.
Well, this bit's 0 squared, right? And this bit's log of 1. Oh, which is 0, right? Okay, check. You guys see it? How about the other one? Can we check the other one? That'd be log of 100 all squared is log of 100 squared. So now I'm going to have to fiddle with logs a little bit, right? So log of 100 is 2, right? I know that from here. So I got 2 squared is log of, what's 100 squared? 10,000. This has 2 zeros. This should have 4, right? Twice as many. And
You're missing one.
thanks. I'm missing one. And log of 10,000 is 4. Oops, I was wondering. But now I'm not. So I got my two solutions. They're x is 1 or x is 100. What was the really tricky step with this one?
The y.
Yeah, this is the really tricky step here. This guy. That's called substitution. That's something we kind of learned later. We know how to do this from like solving linear equations in Algebra 1.
Just barely.
Just barely. But this was unmotivated substitution, right? This was a substitution that I introduced, which is a really new thing, probably. This gets to be a cool trick later on. This is I don't know how to deal with this thing, so let me give it a different name. A simpler name that I can sort out. You guys see that?